she's like, I think you should take the call. And I said, who is it? She's like, it's Orlando Bloom. And so it was so funny. And it's random. And it's funny because I had just met him at the premiere of Superman Return, which came out way back then. And I did the jury for Parker Posey in the movie. I did all the jury. And he was dating Kate Bosworth at the time. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. Kate was in the movie, Lois Lane. And so I met him there. And then, of course, we were introduced. And, he said, well, do you make jewelry? What can you do? I didn't say anything, And so I said, just call me. Well, he did. He called me and I talked to him. And he was doing Pirates of the Caribbean at the time. So I created, he's old school British, right? He wanted tie tags, for his tie. I created one for him. So yeah, so it's fun. I love my job. Seriously, all of my jobs from jewelry, investment banking was fun. My party years, right? I still party today, by the way, haven't stopped. So I went to the whole jewelry, met amazing people. Jewelry brought me to the celebrity world, but also to the socialite world. My very good friend in San Francisco, she was my publicist at the time. She introduced me to like everyone, the whole society group in San Francisco. And that was a lot of fun to get to go to a lot of galas and, fun luncheons and dress up and, in gowns. And it's just a fun world. My job, and I work all the time. It's, you call it work, but fun work that, right. Like boring work. So, but then the celebrity world, I start doing a lot of that. And then I start meeting a lot of, people in the film industry. And I always have the love for film. That was the other thing, so it wasn't hard at all. And it was in no time, I start doing a little bit of here, there, and then I met a really good friend of mine, now really good friend, who's a writer, director, who worked like a lot for like 25 years, who worked with Disney. So we decided to do our first short film. I think that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And that was my first executive produced, a film. And we entered, in a bunch of like film festivals. So it was really fun, but that's how I got into it.
So this person who worked at Disney for all these years, you became friends with this person and he said, hey, I have this idea for a short, right? And then he brought you on as an EP. But what exactly in your mind were you getting into? Like, why would you do it at that time?
It's really funny because I had a meeting with Matt, who was introduced to me, and we sat down and he asked me, it's like, what do you want to do? I said, you know what? I love the whole film industry. I told him, I love to produce, basically. And I said, how do you do it? And then he said, well, there's a lot of different way, of doing it, and the different roles in the whole, producing and, the whole movie world. And then he said, let me think about it. So basically, our first conversation, we clicked right away, but then he put that whole producing thing even deeper in my head. And so, again, I have a lot of friends in the industry. Another person that I met before I met Matt, her name is Lonnie Natter, and her husband, Gil, produced, and he's a director, and she, do you remember The Blind Side?
I do, the football film.
The Sandra Bullock, and the true story. That's one of my favorite movies, by the way. I love that movie. I love Sandra Bullock. She did that. Her husband also did Life of Pi, which won an Oscar. They've done like a lot of things, right? She's an amazing woman, and we became really good friends. Again, it's through jewelry, by the way.
Wow.
And then I came to her after I met Matt, and I said, Lonnie, I think that I want to get in your world. Like, how do I produce? I talked to Matt. She looked right straight at me. She goes, Rosalina, you already a producer. And I said, what do you mean? She said, it's putting things together. And she's like, you are such, a businesswoman. Look at all the things you've done through the years. You're already there. And then I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
So basically,
just a matter of mathematics, right? It's numbers.
Yeah.
And finding good things that you think that people are going to buy, good stories that people are going to buy into, right? And then connecting is like probably the biggest thing as a producer.
Exactly. And through the last few years, asking lots of questions from people that in the industry, Lonnie's is totally like, I can call her anytime. She would do that for me. Matt is that we were working with a lot of projects together. And there's another gentleman that I'm totally like amazed. And and of course, he executive producer for a lot of my favorite movies, Jeffrey Chernoff. Jeffrey Chernoff is one of the executive producer for Star Trek, Mission Impossible. I mean, like major,
big
he just one of those great guys. And it's funny, but I met Jeffrey through one of my friend, Libby, Gretchen Libby. Gretchen works for ILM, which is part of Lucasfilm in the Bay Area.
Right.
Again, it's my Bay Area peeps, right? And she's, again, through jewelry, she's one of like the person head of ILM, which is the special effects. So their company do a lot of special effects for a lot of, movies and, all the big stuff. And Gretchen goes to, of course, the Oscars a lot. And when she goes to the Oscars, she wanted me to deck her out with bling, right?
Right.
So we just like friends, and she introduced me to Jeffrey. She also introduced me to Chantal, which is the executive producer for what's the movie with the hunt? Oh my God, why am I blanking out? What's her name? The one that Jennifer Lawrence.
The games, Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yes. I mean, I just met like a bunch of like amazing people just through friends, and people always like willing to help, willing to give me heads up because I wanted, to do this. So yeah.